Hey, what's up, guys? This is MugenLord here, and today we want to talk about Sega. Why are we talking about Sega? Is it something positive? Is it something good coming out of Sega? I mean, Sega did start off with an amazing announcement last year where you see my reaction, where they're pretty much bringing back a lot of legacy franchises that people have grown to love. And I've been on track and been on board, and you see my response to it, and even made a video dedicated to Sega, is the legendary Sega coming back. And they talked about how they pretty much wanted to bring back that Sega Dreamcast era of rebelliousness. And I'm all on board with that. But now we're here in 2024, and we talked about in our last video that things are pretty much getting nutty when it comes to the cultural aspect of our favorite games and how they're being pretty much manipulated and controlled when it comes to the localization aspects and censorship, and adding that modern audience mentality that the West has been pretty much proclaiming for the past decade now. And it appears that Sega is falling into that trap as well, especially with the title of Yakuza, or you would say Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. There's a lot of controversy that's surrounding it right now, and it appears that Sega is taking or pulling some methods and strategies from the Western activist playbook when it comes to what they've been implementing in the most recent game. And before we dive into it, because I'm definitely gonna give you my opinions on it, because I have happened to buy the game because I enjoyed the last one. And now, after buying it, and now more and more news is coming out, and it's kind of sad hearing this. So, before I give you my thoughts on it, make sure you hit the subscribe button, the notification bell for more gaming content here on this channel. Now, there's two things that's going on here when it comes to Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. We have the, greedy corporate monetization aspect that's going on with it, and then we have the culture war aspect when it comes to modern audience in that Western mentality aspect that's being injected in the Yakuza series, which you would think that would be the last place for that to ever happen. So we're going to dive into the article from Games Radar, where we talk about the greed aspect of it. And what am I talking about here? Well, apparently in the article, now we found out that Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth has a paywall for New Game Plus behind $85 to $110 editions, and one Yakuza actor argues the decision hurts community goodwill. And that's what's going on here. It's the whole goodwill aspect of all this. We've seen it with Marvel, what they've done in Hollywood with the MCU. You build that goodwill, you turn around, and then once you get enough of that goodwill, it seems like these studios turn around and just spit back in the fans' face when they make these radical decisions with this whole modern audience aspect. And since they have so much goodwill, you would have people that would still patronize these companies, but after a while they start to see their profits start to go on the decline, because now fans no longer trust them. And now, ever since Marvel started, making these new announcements and for these phases, they're starting to see little returns as far as profits are concerned, because fans are starting to lose trust in it. And from what one of the actors are arguing here is the same thing. Like, you had so much goodwill, and now Sega's willing to destroy that with these decisions. So, let's continue. Now, the article says Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth is locking its New Game Plus mode behind more expensive editions. The Yakuza RPG arrives in just a few days, which the game have pretty much released January 26th. But those who want to replay the massive romp with all their skills and gear intact will need to spend extra. Infinite Wealth's official website reveals that the New Game Plus, a feature that's normally free of charge, is paywall behind more expensive deluxe editions and ultimate editions. Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth Standard Edition, which just gives you access to the base game, is available for purchase for $70 on Steam. To access New Game Plus, though, you unfortunately need to fork out $85 for the deluxe edition, or a whopping $110 for the ultimate edition. And this is what we're getting now. We're starting to get this is the monetization schemes that we're starting to see more and more studios adopting. Now they're taking standard features that's always been in games, and now they're locking it behind these other editions to try to force you to buy into these editions. And that's so sad. It's no longer about the art. It's no longer about giving back to the fans that sat there and made the series what it is, especially here in the West. You know, where the Yakuza took some time before it got that traction. It was more of a niche, but now it's starting to expand. And this is what happens when this thing start to begin to go mainstream, because we start getting things like this. But I continue. It says other extras in this premium editions include the post-game dungeon, bonus music, and more characters added to the game's wild, off-brand Animal Crossing and Pokemon-style minigames. New Game Plus, as mentioned, is a fairly standard feature found in countless games that feature leveling, loot, and whatnot. Everything from Elden Ring to Alan Wake 2 lets you replay the game while retaining all your goodies. And games such as Marvel Spider-Man 2 are adding the feature in a free post-launch update. Needless to say, news that a usually free feature is now being paywalled has irked many. I would be irked too, especially those who put countless of hours in the Yakuza series or the Like a Dragon series and really love the game. I have my friend Omega Boris. I definitely want to hear his opinion on this as well, because he's the one that always been preaching about how amazing the Yakuza series has always been, and how much he pretty much played all of them. He enjoyed every last one of them, and he's looking forward to this game because he bought it himself, and I've also bought the game, but I haven't played it yet. But I definitely want to hear. I would definitely like to hear his thoughts on it. I may even invite him on the channel, you know, like sooner or later, and when we talk about this game and our thoughts and opinions and the things that Sega has been doing and the crazy decisions that they have been making with this game. I definitely want to hear his thoughts on that. But for fans who have always been playing New Plus games in you know, in all games, you know, I would feel irked that now they're removing that feature and making me pay more for it. So I quote, "It's not bizarre, it's just greedy." I agree. The top comment on the Yakuza subreddit reads, "I strongly dislike the cutthroat approach to DLC in locking the basic feature behind the paywall," says another. Younge, who voices one of the game's two protagonists, Kazuma Kiryu, also spoke up against the money-hungry release strategy. "No game should lock New Game Plus behind the paywall." He writes in a social media post, "Doing so hurts community goodwill and replayability, a net negative in the long run. It should be a base feature or free update for any game that supports it." And that's funny. It's Younge stepping in after his whole debacle about him voicing Kiryu for this game. If you haven't checked out that video, you can check it out as well. That was pretty much one of my highest viewed videos as well. But shockingly, I would have to agree with him when it comes to this. And what's making it more shocking is the fact is that despite Sega giving him the opportunity, you know, after we all ragged on him, and even me gave my opinion about him being a bad choice for Kiryu, I would have to tip my hat off that he was given this position by Sega, and he's willing to speak up. Still speak up about it, because this could put him in danger for future prospects of getting work from Sega. But I would have to respect the fact is that he's willing to go out there and go on a limb and risk that. You get what I'm saying? So, developer RGG Studio and the publisher Sega haven't responded to the backlash thus far. But the tactic won't change if it makes the company enough money come January 26th. And that's important from this article. You have to understand, guys, we can't get mad and upset at this, right? Because if you're going to get mad and upset at this and then turn around and still pay money for the deluxe and the ultimate edition, they're going to continue this behavior. So this situation actually goes hand in hand with one another. You have the greed aspect where they want to continue to be greedy and they're going to cut these features and put it into these others additions. But what is the incentive for them to stop doing that if all you're going to do after they're going on Twitter being mad about it, just for you to go over there and get that deluxe and ultimate edition just to get that feature? Then they have no incentives to change that. So what would make them change that? What would make them change that is if you don't put no money into the ultimate and the deluxe edition. Don't buy those editions. But that's the current state that we are in gaming right now, is to where we have one side who's just like, hell with that, I'm not putting no money into it. But you have a big group, which are the normies who just come in and just, hey, they don't really know what's going on the internet. They don't know that there's a cultural war going on. They don't know that these monetization greed practice are going on. These are just normies. They just, all they know is about the surface level of these games, or the surface level of, you know, of what's going on in the gaming industry. So they just want to play a game. They come home from work, They just want to play a game. So they don't understand any of the stuff that we're arguing about over Twitter. So they're the ones that's going in and they buying into it. They're buying into it. And then the other group, you have the mega fans that even though that they're upset at it, but they're such a big fan of the game, they're going to cave in and buy those ultimate and deluxe editions to get access to the new game plus. And this is the conundrum that we're in. So we're going to move into the final part and the final aspect of Sega and what they've been doing. And that's pretty much it for this aspect, the corporate greed aspect from Sega and utilizing the Yakuza series and taking a feature that have always been part of the series and now behind the paywall. Now I'm going to talk about the cultural aspect of it because people are having growing concerns about how now Eastern studios, Japanese studios, and just Asian studios in general are wanting a piece of that Western pie in America, which I said in the last video that we talked about the localization and how Bandai Namco is also caving in to the modern audience and pulling from the Western playbook as well. And here we have Sega, and people are having growing concerns because now we have an aspect to where Sega, somebody posted the screenshots, and I'll say this because I said it before when it comes to certain things. I haven't played the game yet. I have the game, but I haven't opened it yet. But people are showing some of the localization aspects that's being implemented into this series, into this game. And since I haven't played it yet, I can't really confirm if that is the case. But many people was playing the game saying that this is actually the case here. When you look at the translation and showing that now Sega is now caving into this. And like I said, I'm all about context. I don't know the context of this just yet. It's because I haven't played the game yet. But this is what everybody's been saying, showing in the screenshots. So I say at the same time, take this for a grain of salt if this actually is the case. But I need more context for this. But if this is the case, then it's sad to see that the Yakuza series, that's pretty much very Japanese, is now giving into the West. So as you see here, you have Kazuga talking to Ichiban, and then he says after that, and he says, I said I love that she's so responsible. How is it really impressive for a woman to do what she does? And then Adachi says, wait, what? You really said for a woman? And then Kazuga says, huh? Was that bad? And then Namba says stuff like for a woman, or even though you're a woman. And then Namba says that kind of talk can come off as pretty sexist, even if you're just hanging with us guys. And why? And you can tell that it was some Kool-Aid hair or some soy boy localizer who came in, because like I said in the last video, which you need to check out, that these localizers are coming in and they're admitting that they're changing the context of the entire conversations when it comes to these each studio games. And we also have on record from Bandai Namco going to these localizers, going to them and asking them if this is appropriate for the West. And then these localizers say, oh, nah, let's go change this, let's go edit that. And then a localizer did go on record saying that, yeah, they have more fun with games, localizing games, because they have more control. They can actually go in and actually dictate and change certain things. The developers would go in and just fix those things to what the localizers suggested they do. And it's sad to see that the Yakuza is going down this rabbit hole of Western ideology and propaganda as well. Like, I wouldn't expect that from the Yakuza, and I think that's kind of sad. And as I said before, I've bought the game. I have the game for the Xbox Series X. I pre-ordered it. I wanted to have this game because I enjoyed the last Like a Dragon game. That's the last one that have actually introduced me to actually wanting to play it, because it went the RPG route, and I gave it a try. Love the character development, and yes, it's very Japanese. That last game, very Japanese, and it's proud of that. And now that we go into the sequel, and now I'm understanding, this is what people are saying. The Yakuza Like a Dragon, the last game, got so popular, everybody started talking about it. And the Yakuza series has been a niche series. Only like the hardcore will really know about the game, despite how many entries that they have. And now that these games are becoming more and more popular, and now that we have this sequel, now it's getting affected. Now we starting to see tourists coming in. We starting to see people come in and starting to change these properties that everybody have grown to love for years. That's always been supporting these games, and it's like these studios are turning their back on these fans, because the Yakuza series wouldn't have been popular here in the West if it wasn't for the diehard fans here in the West that really enjoy these games. They enjoy every aspect of it because of its Japanese roots. It's been grounded in its Japanese roots. That's why they love it so much. Character development, great storytelling, and it's packed with content. And now you have the greedy aspect by cutting content and putting in and locking me behind Ultimate and Deluxe editions. And then you have the cultural aspect where you have localizers coming in and then interjecting their Western ideology in the game that embrace its Japanese roots. It just baffles me why are these Japanese studios, why are they insist on just like caving into this? They're making money because they wasn't caving into this nonsense, and now they think that giving into it is going to somehow expand or increase their profits. It doesn't make any sense. Explain this to me. And as I said in my previous video, if you don't like this and you want something to be done about this, because guess what? If you don't like New Game Plus, if you don't want them to do New Game Plus behind Ultimate Edition or Deluxe Edition, then you have to speak with your wallet. You can't go on social media, cry and complain about it, and then turn around and buy the Ultimate and Deluxe Edition. Then they don't have no incentive. They don't have no incentive to play to not go back and revert back to what they normally have been doing with the Yakuza series. Now, for me personally, I normally don't do New Game Plus anyway. When it comes to a lot of my games, I play the games and then I revisit them and just play a new game all over again and just start all over again and just try to 100% it or get close to just 100% in it since I already beat it already. So I've never really had an incentive to play New Game Plus. So me buying the base version was just a no-brainer for me because I never do New Game Plus anyway. But for those of you guys who sink their teeth in the Yakuza series and love to get every nook and cranny and get 100% out of it, then you need to speak with your wallet and not get the Deluxe or the Ultimate Edition. You have to do that. You can't complain about it because if you turn around and go buy it anyway, then what for? Then you deserve everything that comes with the decision that the Sega is making by locking you behind a paywall. It shows that you're willing to pay that money. And when they like money is the answer. Money is what money talks. They respond to money. They don't respond to your opinions. They really don't. They respond to the money because what you're saying one thing, but your actions are saying another. They only respond to the action, not the words. So you have to understand that. And like I said before, and of course, if you don't like it, as I said before, put money into developers who's going to give you what you're looking for. Or, as I said before, create your own, like what I'm doing. So, if you like this video, I definitely want to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you think about Sega and their decision as far as, locking a feature that's normally been in their games now behind a paywall through extra editions? And what do you think about them caving into the Western modern audience narrative and now interjecting into the Yakuza series? Definitely hear your thoughts. So if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, the subscribe button for more gaming content here on this channel. This is MugenLord signing off. I'll see you game fiends later. Peace out.